Ahmed Mohamed, the 14-year-old student who made national news when he got detained for bringing in a clock that his teachers and the principal thought was a bomb, is heading out. He's moving out of America with his family. Here's a quote from his father. "We are going to move to a place where my kids can study and learn, and all of them being accepted by that country in this case being Qatar." Now, you can imagine that since he and his family will be moving to Qatar, and he recently met with someone that many people consider to be a war criminal and a dictator. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Well, he is.
Well, he is, yes.
They consider it because he is.
No, that is included in what I said. Yes.
They consider it.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. He is a war criminal. Sorry. Actually, I was speaking in the same fashion that you're going to see in this Fox clip we're going to go to soon. So-called dictator. Anyway, I'm mostly trying to needle the right. They're not going to be happy about this because they considered him to be, at the very best, a suspicious little child. They continue to question, in this clip, whether he actually made the clock or if the clock was even a clock. But they're not happy about this move. Let's watch.
Just hours after meeting with President Obama at the White House, the clock kid, Ahmed Mohamed, announces that he is leaving the United States and moving to the Middle East. The Mohamed family deciding to relocate from Texas to Qatar after the teenager accepted a scholarship from the Qatar Foundation for Education, Science, and Community Development. Well, this is the latest honor for Ahmed after he was led out of school in handcuffs when a teacher mistook his so-called clock for a bomb. You can see a picture of it right there. Well, last week he was honored by a war criminal, the president of Sudan, who's accused of assisting in the genocide in Darfur.
So, I mean, the part obviously that I love about there is she called it a so-called clock.
Did it work?
It's a clock.
Did it work though? I didn't see it ticking.
It worked.
Oh, you believe?
It's a photo. If you saw it ticking in that photo, the only photo you could see it ticking in is Apple's new live photos, which I call videos. But I don't know if it actually ticked or if the battery life wasn't very long.
That's why it's a so-called clock.
So-called clock.
There's so many different angles with the story. We brought it up this morning, and John wasn't too sold on it. But it's just, again, he met with the president of the Sudan, who his father ran against 2 times
for
president, and then now they're buddy with.
Which is a little strange.
Yes, you look up, and you go, okay, what? And then but when you have reports that come in like this, and they start going, Qatar. And there was an article by Breitbart. There's multiple points in this where they point out Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Sudan, these dictatorial nations that are all agreement. Well, you know, Saudi Arabia, let's not talk about how horrible they are, because when we need things from them, we're very nice. So, I mean, it all comes when you need it. But I looked up the Qatar Foundation of Education, Science, and Community Development, which is the program he was, the Young Innovators program he was accepted into for the scholarship. So as we throw that out there, like he's going to Qatar. He's going to Qatar to go to this terrorism university. And then after learning terrorism, it's the day after he met with Obama. What information did Obama give him to go take to Qatar? So I mean, it leaves these things in your head, which is why all the previous things about Obama being a Muslim and being un-American stays in the backs of Fox News brains like this, and it all gets connected. It's connect the dots. So on their website, I don't know if I got permeated with any of the terrorism, but
you're being tracked by the FBI.
They point out how they have partner universities, including Carnegie Mellon University in Qatar, Texas A&M in Qatar, Georgetown University School of Foreign Service in Qatar, Virginia Commonwealth University in Qatar, and Northwestern University in Qatar. All of those universities have terrorism ties, apparently. Wow. So you don't point those things out because it's just a university, or it's a schooling for, I think they start from preliminary to doctorate level programs. So yeah, people can go to another country where there are bad things happening and get an education in this particular school. And another young innovator that was in the program at the Carnegie Mellon University in Qatar is currently pursuing his graduate studies at MIT. So he came back. Ooh, so I'm saying, like all these, they openly boast these things because it's not a big deal. But I can understand having a problem or wondering why he's meeting with a war criminal president, which we had a war criminal vice president just last cycle. Yeah. So it's painting the picture a certain way.
It's a very strange story overall.
It is that's why I like the layers of this, though.
Yes.
But it's a curious thing for him to go to. I have to say, I'm going to be the bear in the room here.
Okay.
It's a curious thing for this kid, 14-year-old kid. His father's from Sudan. Okay. That's where he was born. His father was born. So Sudan, he worked super hard. He came to New York, and he was a singing hot dog salesman or whatever, and worked his way through.
Was he really?
And yeah, and now his son's made this clock, and he's gone. But it's to go to Qatar. They're not known as a warm, fuzzy country. Their immigration policy isn't the best. They
Yes.
do have indentured slave trade there, which is what they're building, their infrastructure they're building for the World Cup. All of those other things, there's all of that corruption, all of that economic disparity has been amply demonstrated and illustrated. So it is. So for me, it's just weird that this kid would then get offered a spot at this university to go there. I don't have a problem with him going.
It could be a PR move. I mean, look, MIT
Part
was,
of it is
was going to
going,
give him a...
we got your American
Yeah.
who you guys hate. Because, of course, all the quotes come to, I think they're talking about, his father said, we're going to move my family where there's no hate towards who we are. It's hard to go to school here. So it definitely is a, we're going to leave you behind because you guys rejected me.
Again, I have to say, I'm going to be the bearer of them. Qatar is not a country that's known for its progressive human rights program and its freedom of speech and freedom of anything. If you're, it has per capita is the wealthiest country on the planet. So, but if you ain't wealthy, as I said, you're living, you tend to a room and it's squalid conditions, etc., etc., etc.
Okay, so I would say that
here is the problem. And whenever we're trying to fight those types of conditions here, it's not as bad, but we have not a system, a similar system, but we don't really care about anyone that doesn't have money. It's just the way it is here, and it's leading in that direction. Of course, it's at an exponential scale there, and we don't have slavery. We have some instances of it when people do it on the low. We've done those types of stories, but it's not institution by our government the way it is a lot of times there. So there's bad guys everywhere as far as I see. It's weird tangent. But people are worried if they're in a certain neighborhood, I gotta lock my car doors. I watch my back in any neighborhood because I think there's shady people everywhere, so it doesn't have to be confined to one place.
To one country,
Sorry,
yeah, look, I have generally no interest in Qatar. Like, we know some people that we used to work with that now work there and love it and are staying there for a long time. They work for a company that they enjoy working for. I generally have no interest in it. As you point out, the policies that they have in terms of their immigration policy, the guest workers and all that, I got no interest in that. But the ironic thing is that websites like Breitbart and channels like Fox News, who are so against it, the idea of a country which sets up one official religion and then considers everyone who's not a part of that religion as a complete outsider and suspect, and that gives businesses all of the power to abuse their workers in whatever way they want, to make them effectively slaves, that's not the system that I want in America or any country. That's the system that you guys generally push for. You would say not to the same extent as Qatar, but that's the sort of system, the sort of ideology, perhaps a couple decades ahead of time that they currently have working.
The link that they've made between the kid who made the clock for his show and tell, which I have to say, as an aside, looked like a pretty crappy thing. I mean, it was like, I have to say, did it strike anybody? You know those things that you used to get in the... those sharper image stores where you just stick two things into a potato and be like, oh, look, it works. It kind of looked like that. Anyway, but the funny thing is that he got the link that they've made between him who made this clock, a teenager, and Qatar. That's the weird thing for me, because to me it's just an odd choice for this family to make to go there. But if they're giving him opportunities and they're going to pay for his education, then I get it. But it's just funny that they've made that link and they're going, I knew it. I knew it. Something was suspicious about him. You see, we weren't wrong, were we?
And the ironic thing is that this is a very bizarre story. It's almost a Forrest Gumpian story that he's meeting with a dictator. He's speaking with the president. He's going to go to MIT. Now he's going to Qatar.
He's been everywhere, you're right.
He's been everywhere. And none of this would have happened if the right wing hadn't freaked out about him. He is now going to be living in Qatar.
That's actually true.
Because the right wing media made a big deal out of it. And look, from their point of view, they got rid of some Muslim Americans.
Yes, they ran him out of Dodge.
They ran him out of Dodge.
To your point, also, Elliot, I promise this is the last on this from me. I did think before, because I don't know exactly what the project looked like, if it worked. He has his interest in innovation and science and building, right? I hope he's good.
I hope someday
he might be a bad. Who knows? Like, you never know. This kid could just. He's 14.
He may have just had that one project.
Right.
He was like, clocks are his thing. He's like, I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, and maybe
everything else is a dud.
He knows nothing about it. Maybe he's not a good student. Maybe he won't continue to thrive. I was an engineering student when I went to college.
Me too.
I'm not doing engineering.
Me either.
It's something that just my brain said, you know what? I don't like this anymore. Who knows? So now the kid almost has like this responsibility to follow through and be the next great innovator. He's going to be Back to the Future 7, where he has new things we've innovated in flying cars, which I think we have coming already.
That would be cool.